What's good, YouTube? It's your boy JR here. We are back with another video, and as you can tell from the title and the thumbnail, we are discussing something that people want to know whenever they're deciding to upgrade any phone at any point in time. Basically, is it better than the phone that I have right now? And in this community of iPhones, where the iterations are so incremental that it makes it so hard for us to decide whether or not we need to upgrade right now or wait till the next year. It's always, let's say when the 15 came out, everyone was saying, nah, I don't get the 15, wait till the 16. Now the 16 is out, people are saying, nah, I don't get the 16, wait till the 17. So it's going to be continuing that same trend every single year, and Apple's going to continue to do the same thing that they've done every year. You know, it's going to always keep confusing us. So to eliminate that, I'm basically just going to go through some of the, I guess, differences between some of the models or different years of phones for iPhones. So we're going to do a comparison between the iPhone 13 Pro, 14 Pro, and the 16 Pro. I'm not doing a comparison between the 15 and the 16 because, I mean, let's just be honest. If you're skipping like models and years and stuff, it's not going to really. If you're skipping every year, if you're upgrading every year, it's not really going to be a difference. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go back a little bit more. We're gonna go 12 Pro, 14 Pro, and 16 because if you have a 15 or a 13 in between, then you already. I mean, that's basically the same thing. All right, so we're gonna look at that here, and I have that right here in front of you. All right, and this is just gonna be a simple comparison on the Apple website because you can compare things like this. So right here on the left, which might be your right, I don't know. 12, we got the 12 Pro, 14 Pro, and the latest 16 Pro. We're gonna just take a look at all the differences and compare everything. So if you're interested in this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We're gonna answer some of your questions. All right, so taking a look at the 12 Pro, I remember this lineup right here, man. This was a really dope lineup. The 12 Pro came in 4 colors. You have Pacific Blue, Gold, Graphite, and of course Silver. I picked up the Pacific Blue because it was just a new color for that year, and I liked it. It was a version of blue, and I liked it. Then you have the 14 Pro right here, which came in deep purple, which was a dope color. You had deep purple, gold, silver, and space black. All right, and then of course we got this year with the new desert titanium, natural titanium, white titanium, and black titanium, which is the one that you see currently right here in front of me, aka the best color out this year. All right, now I'm going to take a look at the pricing is pretty much the same, except let's see, depending on where. I mean, these right here you can get them for way cheaper now, but so let's skip on down here a little bit. So looking at the screen size, okay, so for the 12 you have a 6.1, 14 6.1, and 6.3 on the brand new 16 Pro. You got Super Retina XDR display on the 12, 14, and then you have a Super Retina display on the 16 Pro. All of that's the same. Only difference between the 12 and 14 and 16, you got Pro Motion technology. You did have always on display, so if you're coming from a 12 Pro and you're looking at going up to a 16, you will get an always on display this time around. I think that's definitely a good reason to upgrade, along with the display size too. Okay, and now this is where you kind of see more changes. Stainless steel with a textured matte glass back from the 12 and the 14, and then the 16 now has titanium texture, matte glass back. Of course, we still have you still have your switch on your 12 and your 14. So if you decide to upgrade to the 16 instead of the switch, then you get the action button. Now this line right here, honestly, I don't even know why they even put that right there. They should just remove that until the 18.1 comes out, when it actually does have Apple Intelligence. Everything is truly the same right across the board right now. None of these have Apple Intelligence. Don't believe the hype. Just stay where you at if you are looking at Apple Intelligence. All right, so and then the next thing right here, of course, we have the chips, the 14 on the 12, 16 on the 14, and the 18 Pro chip on the 16. The only difference, basically, each year, the core GPU goes up from 4 to 5 to 6. All right, and the newer engine pretty much stays the same. Now, camera capture is a whole new line that they basically had to include on the 16 Pro because it didn't exist until this year. That honestly is still, we still determining whether or not that's relevant or not. I don't know who they had in the lab basically to test out this feature and say, hey, you know what, I think this would be a good idea to have this positioned like right down here closer to the bottom. You know, I don't know. Maybe they were thinking if you're a content creator and you have the phone on a tripod or some type of holder, then you can still have space in here where it can hold the phone. I don't know, but this right here needs to be a little bit higher. In my opinion, people with bigger hands are going to really struggle with this part right here. But anyway, yeah, so if you're coming from a 12 or 14 or 15, camera control is new, easier way to capture, faster access to photos and videos. Not only that though, you can remap the camera capture, what the hell is it? Camera control. You can remap that to flashlight, you know, or something else. Like I believe you can change it up to like Instagram. Hold on 1 second there. I actually took a look at this earlier. Let's see if we go to camera, and where was I at? Camera control. You can remap it. It's got code scanner, Instagram, magnifier, or none. So you can do single click or double click. You know, it's up to you. You can kind of remap it if you want. Not only that, moving down to the cameras. Now this is where you're going to see the biggest difference between the three. On the 12 Pro, you got a 12 megapixel main, ultra wide, and telephoto. Then you skip up to the 14, you have a 48 megapixel wide and telephoto lens. And for the 16, you have the 48 megapixel fusion, 48 megapixel ultra wide, and telephoto. So I will say, as far as the cameras are concerned, if you're coming from either one of these, 12, 13, or 14, then you will definitely see a really good improvement in the camera system. Now, as far as the resolution that we're looking at right here, you see the super high resolution photos. I mean, all of these really take really good cameras and really good photos, and you have to be really nitpicky as far as the resolutions are concerned to see a real difference. And I mean, if you're looking at like shadows and exposure, like if you're really into photography, then you'll notice those differences. But if you're just an everyday Joe, everyday person, you know, just snapping photos, you ain't really gonna see too much of a difference. Probably between the 12 and the 16, but between the 14 and the 16, you're not gonna see too much of a difference, especially with the software updates. All right, so looking at the portrait mode here, you got portrait mode on with depth control on 12, 14. You got focus and depth control on the 14, and next generation portraits with focus and depth control on the 16. So like I said, you know, if you're coming from a 12, you'll really see a difference. 14, maybe. And down here you got macro photography. Macro photography has improved on the 16 Pro. I can vouch for that. But it also is on the 14 as well. If you're coming from the 12, you'll definitely see a difference because you don't have macro on the 12. And right here, as far as the frames per second, still have Dolby Vision across the board, except you have 120 frames per second, where you see the 16s have come in. And I personally have been using that a lot lately with videos. That's one of the reasons why I opted for the 512 gig instead of the normal 256, because 4K 120 frames per second takes up some space. And of course, you don't have spatial audio on anything earlier than the 15. So if you happen to, well, not spatial audio, but spatial videos and photos, if you have the Vision Pro, then that's where you'll utilize that on the phone to translate over to the Vision Pro. If not, then you really ain't gonna be using it at all. Photographic styles are on the 14 to 15. This is more of a software thing. And as far as the 12 is concerned, I mean, yeah, if you're coming from the 12 and if you care about being able to edit your photos on device, then this will be a definite benefit for you. Now we're looking at optical zoom options. Coming from the 12, you do have a couple more options here. You do have a wide angle lens that gives you that 0.5 times, but I think that with the software upgrades, if you're on a 14 and up, that's where you'll pretty much have the same amount of zooms, except for the 5 times zoom. And this is all like, for real, I really think this is all software stuff, and this is how they get us. But anyway, moving on, you got the dynamic island, which started on the 14, which was a pretty noticeable change. It was a step forward in trying to get rid of the notch completely. So we've been with the dynamic island since the 14s, and that's just the way it is. Probably won't be going anywhere anytime soon, but I don't know, they might surprise us on the 17. We'll see. All right, so down here looking at emergency SOS things. The 14 started with the emergency SOS via satellite, and this is probably something, if you're coming from a 12 Pro, especially with safety, one of my biggest things that I love about Apple is the fact that anytime you have any safety features, you know, they're really good with safety features. They have all the safety features and I love them. Hope to God I never have to use them, but it's nice to know that if you do happen to get in a crash or you need roadside assistance, or you're somewhere where you don't have any service, you know, you can at least get the signal out. So if you're coming from a 12 Pro, then you definitely want to upgrade, to that. Now this is a big one right here. If you're coming from a 12 Pro, more than likely you're definitely not getting 17 hours of battery life, especially at this point in time, because your battery capacity is probably down to about 1%. And I mean, that's okay. You know, you can keep your phone on the charger all the time if you want. To have battery packs for all of that if you want to just stick with your 12. But as far as the battery is concerned, you definitely want to go ahead and upgrade your phone just for that, because the battery capacity is on the 16s. It's saying up to 27 hours, and if you get the Pro Max, you'll be up to like 33 hours. So the battery life is definitely a plus and a major reason why you should want to upgrade your phone, especially if you're coming from a 12, even a 14. Battery life, if they're giving you more of that, you always want to take that. Okay, and this next one right here is basically for, I think everyone should have this, especially since, you know, we're in 2024 now. Majority of the products, electronics that we use USB-C, so you don't want to be left out. Or you don't want to have to or be caught in a situation where you don't have a charging cable. And so I think that coming from any of these, the 12 or the 14, come on up to USB-C, man. That way you'll know, even if somebody does have an Android, at least you can charge your phone if you need to. Face ID has been across the board for a minute, so I think we're good on that. 5G, of course, that's normal. You don't have to worry about that. 12 Pro on up, Ceramic Shield is pretty good, but I think that the new versions of Ceramic Shield, the latest versions of Ceramic Shield, are probably better than the earlier versions, especially coming from like the 14 on up. 14 and up is good, but 12 Pro, yeah, you might want to go ahead and, if you're not using a screen protector. And as far as the water resistance, that's pretty much been the same across for a minute, especially even since the 12. And then the MagSafe compatibilities, pretty much the same. Only difference is this year you get wireless charging up to 25 watts and 30 watts with an adapter or higher, which is a big thing, especially if you're on the go, you don't have much time. Faster charging times are always a plus for sure. Now, if you're coming from the 12 Pro, you only get 112, 256, and 512 gigs. Anything earlier than that, like with the 14s and up, you get 128 up to 1 terabyte. I didn't even realize that they offer 128 in the 16s, but I guess they do. I don't see why. I don't know. I wouldn't get a 128 gig phone now, especially. I wouldn't even get my kids a 128 gig. It's gotta be 256 and up, just because photo and video quality is so much better now. So it's gonna take up more space. So you definitely want the storage on your phone, because you don't want to run to that thing where you gotta erase apps and delete apps just to install new ones, or delete pictures and videos to record new ones. I mean, you don't want to get rid of those memories. But anyway, so you can kind of see everything here as far as the display is concerned, with the pixels, the pixel rates, and the PPIs, the true tone displays. Everything is pretty much the same. The only thing that really has changed in this list right here is probably the brightness. So right here, the 12s, you get about 1200 nits peak brightness, and then if you're looking at the 14s and ups, you get 2000 nits, and that's pretty much where we're at right now with the 16s. The one extra benefit as far as the brightness is concerned, you do get down to 1 nit minimum brightness, and this is if you're in a dark area, the phone brightness goes down really low, so that helps you save on battery a lot. Me personally, I love that feature, because when I'm just laying in bed at night and I'm looking at my phone, scrolling through social media, and the brightness gets really low, and you know, it won't interrupt somebody that's laying beside you, or you know, it just won't be hurting your eyes in some cases. So that's a really good feature to have. As far as the size and the weight is concerned, weight has kind of fluctuated, in my opinion, between these years. Between the 12 Pro, you had 6.66 ounces or 189 grams, 206 with the 14s, and we're back down to 199. I think I'm really glad that, you know, they managed to decrease the weight but increase the battery size this year around. So if you're looking for a phone that is not that heavy, then 16 Pro is definitely a good option, especially going back to that battery life. Okay, so that's pretty much it as far as the differences between like a 12 Pro, 14s, and the 16s. Now, overall, my opinion, I feel like anyone that is contemplating upgrading to a 16 Pro this year, if you have, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you, this is being practical. If you have a 14 Pro, I say still wait. I know it's tempting. You done had your phone 2 years. You're watching this video. You probably done watched a million videos like this. But if you're being practical and you know you're trying to save your money and make the smart choice, Apple makes great devices. They last for a really long time. Updates are coming out every year. I mean, I think they just stopped software support for like the 6 or the 7. I can't remember exactly which one it is, but if you got a 14, you're still in the game for good stuff, except for like Apple Intelligence whenever that comes. But if you have something earlier than like 14, like a 13, then I would say the money kind of justifies it. Not only that, Apple still gives you trade-ins for your earlier devices and everything. So don't want to make this video too long, but I wanted to touch on those few things in case anybody had any questions. If you still have questions, go in the comment section, leave them in the comment section. I will get back to you. If you liked the video, please hit that thumbs up button, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think. Please hit that subscribe button and turn on your bell notifications so you know when I'm posting videos, man. This is your boy JR. I'll holler at y'all in the next one. Y'all hold it down and be safe. Peace.